Okay. Sorry for the extreme close-up there. Thank you. We're just about ready to get started. Hold on just another second. We're happy you could join us for our Memorial Day weekend service. I've been visiting the, oops. Oh, hold on. There, okay. Okay. I got one lock of hair that's going, okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Here I am at Buddhist Church of Oakland. There's the beautiful Nijin, and we'd like to begin the service with the chanting in the Nokotsudo. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to turn my camera around so you can see where I'm going. Okay. Hold on just a second here. Okay, and we'll begin with chanting here in the Nokotsudo. Namanda, 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 namanda. Gagon chosegan, hishimu jodo, shigan fu manzok, seifu josho gak, gao munyoko, fui dai seishu, fusai shobingu, seifu josho gak, gashi jobu no myosho chojippo, kukyo mishomon, seifu josho gak, ryoku jin shonen, joe shubongyo, shigumu jodo, isho teninshi, jinriki andaiko, fusho musaido, shoujo san kumyo, kosai shuyaku Kaiichi egen meshi konmoan heisoku shoakudo tsudaten zen shumon koso jo manzo kiyo no jippo nichigan shujuki tenko pugen isai shorijo kauseku dokuho jo daishuchu seppo shishiku kuyo isai butku soku shutoku hongan ne shinjo man toku isangai yo nyobun mugechi tsudaten mifu shogan ga kueri toshi sai shoson shigan yakoka daisen no kando koku sho tennin to jin myoke namandabu 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 Ganni shiku doku byodo seisai dohon bodai shin ojo anakok. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda, namanda, namanda. Okay. So, I'd like to show you the beautiful flowers in here in the Nokotsudo. And now we'll come back out and do service in the Hondo. Reverend Michael Endo put the flowers in, the special flowers for the Naijin. This is my card with Jusei Gei on it that I'll talk about a little bit later. Okay. Okay. So we'd like to have Sutra chanting now, and we'll be chanting Jusei Gei again, and I'm going to put the words up on the screen so you can chant along if you wish. Namandam, 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 namandam. Gagon chosegan ishimu jodo shigan fumanzok seifu joshogak gao munyoko fuidai seshu fusai shobingu seifu joshogak gashi jobutendo myosho chojippo kukyomi shomon seifu joshogak Byokujin shonen joe shubongyo shigumu jodo isho tenin shi jinniki endaiko fushomu saido shoujo sankumyo kosai shuyakunam kai chi egen meshi konmoan heisoku shoakudo tsudaten zen shumon koso jo manzok ioro jippo nichigaten shujuki tenko onpugen ishu kai hozo kose kudoku ho jodai shuchu seppo shishiku kuyo isai butsu gusoku shutoku hon ganne shitsujo man tokui sangai yo nyobutsu mugechi Tsudatsumi fusho gangaku erik toshi saisho som shiganyakoka daisen okando koku shotenin touchimyoke Namo Namo Amida Butsu Namo Amida Butsu Namo Amida Butsu いしんおじょあんらこナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナマンダ仏ナマンダナマンダ Okay. Let's see. Give me a second while I shift to my other position. Okay. Okay, well, thank you again, everyone. Thank you very much for attending this virtual service at the conclusion of our Memorial Day weekend cemetery visits. This is the first time we've been able to do the cemetery visits in, 3 years? Because even though the pandemic's been going for 2 years, it started right before we could do any cemetery visits in 2020. So 2019 is the last time we actually went out and were able to gather with people at the cemeteries and everything. I went by myself and took pictures and did chanting at the different cemeteries, but this was the first time to be able to do it with people. And so I think it was really meaningful, really wonderful opportunity. Oh, hold on. So one of my jokes not a joke, I guess it is a joke, for my Dharma talks was, on the first day I forgot my chanting book. I didn't have it with me, but I had my Buddhist Churches of America index card that has Jusei Ge on it. Look how small the lettering is, right? And so I used this on the first day, and then I realized I kind of like it. It's easier to hold than holding the entire book. But I also realized I can read it. The reason I can read it is because I got trifocals. During the pandemic, my eyes, I found that I just was told that my eyes had degenerated. I've worn glasses ever since I was maybe first grade. But for the first time in my life, I was told that I need trifocals or bifocals at the very least. Trifocals help with the computer, right? So that the lowest level is for reading stuff close up, the medium level is for computer, and then the general level is for driving and just kind of general. So eyes change, get older, right? Sometimes we get sick. Unfortunately, many people did during the pandemic, right? Birth, sickness, old age, and death are 4 of the sufferings that Buddhism talks about. Being separated from those we love is another one, maybe the 5th one, if we go to the full list of 8. And so that's one aspect of Buddhism, is understanding the difficulties of life. Right, recognizing and understanding that this is something that we all go through, right? Getting sick and having to die, but it's also part of life, right? That is part of what it means to be alive, and yet also with this recognition that it is kind of a form of suffering, and with Memorial Day weekend, what we do for our temple is we're visiting. It's not really connected to armed forces, right? It's just general membership. We don't do anything tomorrow on actual Memorial Day, but the cemeteries are set up for visitors and that kind of thing. So I think it works out kind of nice. It's nice to be able to go and people put flowers by their families' grave sites and everything, and then we go chant the sutra. So that's the other side, right? Impermanence and change. And when we don't understand impermanence, that brings us suffering. But there's also interconnectedness, right? And that interconnectedness is, I think, one of the things that we celebrate in Jodo Shinshu, right? And we realize, yes, I am here in the midst of all these relationships. And Memorial Day weekend, when we go to the cemetery, we're visiting special people, right? Family members who have passed away. And yet, we still have our relationship with them, right? That's one thing that I've kind of learned since becoming a Buddhist minister and studying Buddhism, that those relationships are what make me who I am. Those relationships are what make the people that I'm visiting who they are, right? And so I make my parents parents. Without me, without children, you can't be a parent, right? And they make me a son. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, right? That all of a sudden, okay, so I'm a son, I'm a grandson, I'm a nephew, I'm a cousin, I'm a husband, right? I'm all those things because of others, right? That though all those others make me who I am. And so, these relationships, it's more than just, I don't know, to me it's really profound and really just a wonderful discovery for me to realize that. Right? Oh, wow, that's one way that maybe we can understand the idea of no self in Buddhism. Right? We don't have to go as far as no self, but to realize, who am I? It's not just about me. Who I am depends on others. And as I think Yamaoka Sensei would say, and I'm wearing the wagesa, this kesa that Reverend Yamaoka and Shigeko gave me when I was a student some 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, right? That who I am depends on others. I can only live because of others. This profound insight on how important others are. Now, this has been a wonderful weekend to get to see people, right? To get to go visit and see people who I haven't seen in 2 or 3 years. I saw some people that I didn't even think would be out there this weekend, right? And it's really exciting and nice to get to see people I haven't seen in several years, right? And so that's one really special thing about this weekend and this month. But horrible things have been happening in our country this month too, right? And we've seen a lot of tragedy, and even though I haven't been touched directly by it, just really my heart aches, right, for hearing about how many have been killed, right? Killed in really just either senseless violence or violence rooted in hatred, right? Just awful, awful, horrible hatred that we've seen. And, what can I say? Don't do it. It's wrong, but that doesn't do any good. So I guess we have to try and understand. And I mean, one of my recent Dharma talks talking about the meaninglessness of life. And in one sense, life can seem meaningless. Samsara can be kind of meaningless, but samsara is also driven by hatred and anger and ignorance. Right? That hatred and anger, the antidote is compassion, love, right? This kind of antidote to this horror of hatred and anger. And, just realizing we hear about sympathy, and maybe that's all I can truly feel is sympathy when I hear of others suffering like this. But sometimes I think that sympathy is someone's feeling bad, someone's hurt, and you're like, oh my gosh, I recognize that you're hurt. I'm sorry. Right? Empathy is when you see someone hurting and you feel it, right? That you feel the pain of another. Even if I don't feel the actual pain that they're feeling, when I am overcome with sadness at seeing someone else suffering a loss, like so much loss that's happened in this past month, just these past 2 or 3 major incidents, and I know that there are so many more too. It's horrifying, right? But if I can feel that sadness, it hurts. It's awful, and yet that empathy, that connection, that realizing this can't go on, I think is necessary. When we're blinded by hatred, when we're just overcome by hatred, I don't think you can feel that. And I think we see people who for some reason feel like the right to own a gun is more important than the actual lives of innocent people, children or adults or whatever, right? Where's the empathy? Well, the most important thing is to recognize, oh my gosh, someone else is suffering. What can we do to help? I think that's a fundamental aspect of Buddha's compassion, the compassion of Buddha that we aspire to, that we can see as a value. Right? That I've also spoken, I think, recently about the 4
immeasurable minds. And one is kindness, which is another Buddhist value, right? And likened to the love of a mother for her child. But then compassion, right? Kindness is maitri, like in Maitreya, the future Buddha. So that maitri is friendliness or kindness or loving kindness. But the compassion is karuna. The compassion is the love, the Buddha's compassion is like the love of a mother for her sick child. Right? That seeing someone suffering, seeing their own child suffering, doing everything they can to try and help, to make them feel better. There's also Kannon Bosatsu, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, is another important figure in Buddhism. And we don't talk about so much in Jodo Shinshu, but it's part of Jodo Shinshu too. And Kannon, or Guanyin in Chinese. Right? So Kannon, kan means to see, literally, but could also maybe be to perceive. And on is sounds. So Kannon hears the sounds, is aware of the cries of those suffering, and responds, wants to help. Right? That's the energy of Buddhism. It's not only wisdom, it's also compassion. Right? And this urge to help, this empathy, right? Oh my gosh, you're suffering. I feel it. We got to do something. And I think a lot of people in our country feel that way right now. And I think, could this be the tipping point? Personally, I'm a pessimist. As a Buddhist, I'll be an optimist. I can have multiple sides, right? We'll see. How what's it going to take? Right? Come on. We can't just have this senseless violence. I mean, if you really embrace hatred, then I guess that's how you feel. But as a Buddhist, I cannot. I recognize hatred and anger as a poison. One of the three poisons, right? Maybe one of the worst because it hurts so many others as well as oneself. And this poison of anger and hatred, it's how much more poison do we need, right? How much more death and destruction do we need before we can try and make a change? Unfortunately, greed is another one of the poisons that's fueling this whole thing, that fuels samsara, but fuels, I think, our current situation as well. So unfortunately, that's what's going on. But as Buddhists, we can aspire, even if it's very difficult, if not impossible, to manifest this selfless care, this compassion, this empathy. I think we do recognize that as one of our values. And as something that we aspire to. And, this weekend was just so wonderful to see people, right? To be able to see, because we've had people coming to church, right? But to see people that I haven't seen in a long time, and they've been able to go visit, they could go to the cemetery, but to have a service performed for their loved ones, like we used to do every year, was just really, really wonderful and maybe inspiring to me too. Right? To encounter this kindness, this care, this love of family, but also companionship with others, right? Like this time I didn't do individual grave sites. I did one per area. And I'm thinking maybe we should do this from now on, not only because it's more realistic and sustainable for the minister. It's hard chanting 10, 15 times, especially when it's the same people each time, right? But what I realized is when we do one site and everyone does it together, we're Sangha. Right? It's not just my family. Okay, do my family, then you can do your family. No, we're all Dharma family. So I think that was another really thing that I really liked about this time, was being able to do one service at the site and have everyone who's there participating in the same service, with all their loved ones watching, right? As we pay our respects to our loved ones who came before us, who have passed before us. So thank you very much for joining us. This, we could have had this in person maybe, but we just, we wanted to be careful, and we did. COVID cases are still kind of, the numbers are up, right, in Alameda County. So it seemed, all our services over the weekend were outdoors. We didn't do any indoor services, including this one. And yet, you're able to join today. Right? Maybe people could join who wouldn't normally have been able to come or wouldn't normally be here. I hope if that's the case, I think it's great. We'll continue these hybrid services as time goes on. I think in the fall. We still have graduation service next week, which will be hybrid. We're going to do that outdoors. And, the Shotsuki services we have over the summer. And then when school starts up again, Dharma school in the fall, I think we'll keep doing these hybrid services so that people who can't come be in person can join. I had some people who I met today, people in their 90s, right? This one person was 101 who I saw today, right? Just really amazing. And they watch online. And they feel like they've been at church. It's really great. And so really appreciate your patience and participation today. And thank you so much. Why don't we conclude our Memorial Day weekend, all our visitations, especially here at the Buddhist Church of Oakland. Let's conclude with Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sensei.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye.